News 4 is your local election headquarters, and we are just about 14 hours away from polls opening for the first of 2 New York State primary days.
Polls will be open for primary day starting tomorrow morning at 6. Of course, they close at 9 in the evening. Today is a voting holiday after early voting wrapped up this weekend. The races topping the ballot, of course, tomorrow are the gubernatorial primaries for both major parties. Joining us now to talk more about this is political analyst Carl Calabrese. Carl, thanks for being here.
My pleasure.
Again, we're getting into the swing of a first of 2 primaries on the docket tomorrow. Of course, the headlining both major parties for the gubernatorial race. What are you thinking as this campaign is wrapping up here? It seems to have been spirited, particularly on the Republican side.
Oh, very much so. There were a couple of very lively debates, a couple of lost tempers, let's say, in public, which always, usually doesn't look good. But the Republican primary is very interesting because I'm hearing from a lot of Republicans movement towards Giuliani. They were very impressed with his debate performances. I'm looking at the polls 6 weeks ago. Giuliani was single digits. Now, depending on the poll, he's anywhere from 2 to 5 points behind Zeldin. The momentum is certainly with him, which is very important in political polling. And 1/3 of Republican voters, as of Friday, were undecided. Wow. So if there's an upset tomorrow night, that will be it.
Now, we were just saying before, what would a Republican candidate need to beat Hochul?
Well, a Republican candidate is going to need lots of money because Kathy Hochul, if she's proven anything, she is a fundraising juggernaut. She really has raised huge amounts of money. They're going to need some hot-button issues that they can put her on the defensive. There's certainly plenty of those around. But from the Republican standpoint, and here's one of the strategic kind of structural issues, Zeldin is endorsed not only by the Republican Party, but by the Conservative Party. If he loses the Republican nomination tomorrow, and let's say Giuliani wins it, Giuliani will not have the Conservative Party endorsement. And it's really, really tough to even think about pulling off a victory in this state if you're a Republican without that Conservative Party line. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. But I'm kind of surprised that the Zeldin campaign has not made that a big issue with the Republican voters to basically come right out and say, look, if you want a shot at beating Kathy Hochul, you've got to nominate a candidate not only on the Republican line, but also comes in with the Conservative endorsement, and that's me and only me. He's not done that. I think that could prove to be a very, very bad strategic mistake.
It could be interesting, too, once voters head to the ballot boxes, because that extra line is so important, particularly in the governor's race here in New York State. Let's turn things a little bit local here. We've got a pretty rare primary that's set up between 2 Democrats in Melissa Hartman, and then you've got, of course, Mickey Kern. So I'm curious what your thoughts are. I've seen the ads, of course, on our air and on every other channel, the usual attack stance against Mickey Kearns, right?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, Mickey Kearns is a registered Democrat who runs on the Republican line. He's a conservative Democrat, South Buffalo, pro-life, pro-gun, lots of stuff going for him that plays pretty well in Erie County. Yeah. Melissa Hartman, on the other hand, has changed parties from Republican to Democrat, so she's new to Democrat voters. So, certainly Mickey Kearns has a lot of advantages, but you can't underestimate the Democrat organization to get out the vote for their endorsed candidate.
Were you surprised at the notion of her attacking him, even though she also has flipped parties? Because clearly her ads are going right after him on the other issues.
Yeah, no, nothing surprises me when it comes to campaign ads. Right. One of my mentors in politics told me the day I got elected to public office, he said, Carl, remember, the beauty of politics is you never have to be consistent.
Short memories, right?
Let's talk about another race. Lieutenant Governor, what's that looking like? Will this be a close one?
Yeah, it could be, and that could produce some very awkward moments this fall because only New York allows a lieutenant governor to run on their own and not be part of a team with the governor. And so you could end up with a person who is not part of the governor's team. Delgado obviously is her choice, but he's running against a woman named Ana Maria, whatever.
Yeah, right. Downstate.
And Diana Rina. Achila. And Achila has got the progressive wing of the party pretty much in line. So if she wins, you're going to have a governor, Kathy Hochul, with a person she doesn't particularly like politically, did not pick, and who has a lot of problems with Kathy Hochul's positions on issues. And as I say, that could produce some awkward, if not embarrassing, situations come fall.
Of course, we had early voting. It seemed pretty successful. A little more than, I think it was 11 or 12,000 people cast their ballots early. That's good news for turnout, I suppose, in a primary. Primaries typically in New York and around here, very, very low turnout. Of course, we'll be live tomorrow with the results on News 4 at 10 on the CW. What is your expectation? I mean, we should know a lot of these races by what, 10, 11 o'clock?
Oh, yeah, I would think so. By 10, 10:30, we should know the premier billboard races we should know, and then it's off to the fall. In between that, of course, is the next primary in August, which has really confused people in the state. I mean, the state elected officials in this state have gummed this thing up to a fare thee well. I've never seen anything more confusing to voters than what we're facing this year, but that'll be the next docket.
Quickly, I just want to wrap with this. Before you talked about those topics, do you think things like abortion, gun control will drive more people to the polls?
It will. There are people on both sides of those issues, and it plays both ways.
Yeah, it does.
Okay. Frankly, in my opinion, what I look at in terms of polls, the people on the extremes of both of those issues tend to cancel each other out. Okay. And the economy is, I think, economy and crime, I think, are the two major issues going into these races and into the fall.
Yeah, and if not for the primary tomorrow, then definitely in November.
No question.
All right, Carl Calabrese, thank you so much for
you.
joining us. Always appreciate your insight.
Enjoyed.